Hi, I'm Jay, and today on Jay's World Kitchen, we're making coleslaw. Coleslaw is one of those salads that I have a love-hate relationship with. I really enjoy it, but my experiences with it are usually quite disappointing. Quite often I'll go out and it's either very, very bland or it's just cabbage and mayo thrown together. And sometimes it goes totally over the top and there's raisins and things in it. It gets really frustrating trying to find a good coleslaw recipe, and this one is one that was taught to me, and I've updated it and changed it a little bit to my taste. I hope that you'll enjoy it. Let's have a quick look at the ingredients. The simple ingredients of this recipe make it really, really versatile, so you can adjust this to your own taste. For this recipe, I'm using a half of a regular cabbage, and you can use half of a cabbage and a red cabbage as well. Mix them in, it looks really good, the color is really great. You can use any kind of cabbage that you like. I'm just using your good old-fashioned regular cabbage here. And remember that with cabbage, a little goes quite a long way. So I'm doing half a cabbage for this one. You're then going to need 3 peeled and grated carrots, 1 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. And if you don't know how to make Italian seasoning, if you don't have it on hand, you can click up here and there's a link to a previous episode where I did make my own Italian seasoning. You're then going to add a tablespoon of parsley, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, a half a teaspoon of celery seed, a little bit of black pepper to taste, some garlic, about 2 tablespoons, but I think you know I'm going to be adding more than that, some olive oil and white vinegar. Let's put this simple recipe together. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut up our cabbage. And basically you're simply going to take your head of cabbage. If there's any bad leaves on the outside, take those off first, and a good sharp knife. And we're literally just going to cut it down the center like that, all the way. May have to use a little bit of force. Let's get all the way down. All right, and we're just going to be using half the cabbage, like I said. So what you want to do is you're going to want to cut out the core part, which is here, and that can be a little bit tricky. So you can simply slice down next to it like this. And again. And finally, put those aside. We're just going to cut like this, which will get rid of the core. And that part you can just toss in your compost. Now the important thing with coleslaw is that you want to try and cut it super fine, and so you're going to make very, very thin slices like that, all the way down and across each piece. And once those are cut, you're going to toss them into a large mixing bowl and continue to do the same on your other pieces. Again, very, very thin slices, because just better that way. Now I will confess that I actually used a little bit less because I really didn't want to go overboard. I don't want coleslaw till the cows come home. This is for a smaller party of guests. So put all that cabbage into a bowl, and now I'm going to add my carrots that I've grated. When you're grating carrots, please be careful if you're doing it by hand. If you can, use a food processor to do that instead of doing it by hand, because it's a lot safer for sure. And once that's in, we're simply going to put all of our spices on. We're going to start with our celery seed, our Italian seasoning, our parsley, a little bit of black pepper, and really I just ground it for a couple of seconds. Our salt, the sugar, and finally the garlic. And again, like I said, I say 2 tablespoons, but I'm quite sure there's more than that in there. And now we're going to drizzle all of that with olive oil, quite generously. And finally, we're going to add our vinegar. And so far that's about 1.5 cups there, but I will probably add some more after I've mixed this up a little bit. Now you can use a spoon to do this if you want, but I don't know, you know how I like to use my hands. Now into this I am going to add just a little bit more vinegar, because you do want some extra liquid in there, but not too much. You don't want that vinegar to become overwhelming. And mix it in just to make sure everything is well coated. And every now and then along the way you may want to give it a small taste. Just to make sure that that mix is right. This seems perfect. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it into the fridge. I'm going to be leaving mine overnight to taste. Now, as the longer you leave your cabbage in your vinegar, the softer it's going to get. If you like this really crunchy and you want it really fresh, it really does taste very good right now. You can leave this overnight, you can prepare it ahead. You can also separate the two. Keep all your wet ingredients to get out of it and just put them all in together right before you serve this. So our coleslaw has been in the fridge overnight. It has sunk down a little bit. The cabbage is slightly softened, which is okay. If you like it like that, I do. If you want it really, really fresh, keep the wet ingredients out of it until right before you serve. Just make sure you mix it really, really well till all that sugar is dissolved. But let's give this a little taste. I love that garlic in there. I like the fact that it's got that sweet to it from the sugar, but there's that little kick of vinegar in there, and you can actually taste the pepper, and that Italian seasoning is just quite something else. The celery seed really makes the flavor bold. I really like this recipe, and I hope you do too. Please remember that you can adjust these volumes to suit yourself and to suit how many people you're serving and to suit your taste. And if you do, I'd love to hear about it. Please remember to comment below on how yours turned out for you. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and remember to turn on notifications so that you know when my next video drops. Remember, you can also follow me on social media, both my Facebook page and my Instagram. And if you would like to support this channel, remember that you can visit my Patreon and support financially there. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time.